This is Dr. Rebecca Johansson, running and triathlon coach with the Performance Project. You can find us at theperformance-project.com. Today's sports science mini lecture is on setting goals in times of uncertainty. I'm going to use myself as a case study to go through the steps. So the first step is going to be to write down your goals. And this list should be all-inclusive. So allow yourself to dream big and don't put any restrictions on the list based on what might be realistic or have any logistical barriers for you this year. So this is really a dream list. So for myself, I've got six items or challenges or races on the list for right now. The first being run the New York City Marathon. The second being race a local 50-mile trail race in North Carolina. The third one is hike run the Mountains to Sea Trail, which is a trail that's over 1,000 miles and goes across the entire state. So that's a through hike. The fourth one is to run a 100-mile trail race, which has been a goal of mine for several years. The fifth one, complete a swim run event. So a combination of my two favorite sports. And number 6 on the list being to run a sub 20-minute 5K. So that's my dream list for right now, and I didn't put any restrictions on it. So the second step is to narrow down the list. So you need to highlight the goals that are realistic in the next 6 months. So when I go through my dream list, running the New York City Marathon is not realistic given the situation right now. A road marathon certainly is realistic for me to train for, but in terms of it being safe for me to get on a plane to travel to New York City or for that event, a mass road event to happen in the next 6 months is not likely. So that one is not going to be highlighted. The second one is realistic, and that one's highlighted yellow because it's a local race and it's a trail race. So that one I'll keep. The third one, the through hike, just is not realistic for me in the next 6 months because it would require me to take too much time off from work, which I can't do right now. The 100-mile trail race isn't realistic because my training load has been pretty low in the first quarter of the year. So it would just require too much of an increase in my training load in the next 6 months. And I'm quite injury prone as a runner. So that one is a no for right now in the next 6 months. The swim run event isn't realistic because the pools are just now opening up and only the private pools are opening up and I don't have a membership. So not being able to train properly for the swim makes that not realistic. And then the last one on the list, run a sub 20-minute 5K, that one I'll keep because it is realistic. So after you highlight the ones that are realistic in the next 6 months, then you need to choose the goal that you actually want to train for in the next 6 months. So the two highlighted ones are competing with each other. So ultimately, I enjoy doing ultra marathons, and right now I'm really enjoying the trail running. So I'm going to choose the local 50-mile ultra marathon. And the third step is to have a backup plan. And this is really pertains to the time that we're in right now. So this race, the Pilot Mountain to Hanging Rock 50-mile ultra marathon, is scheduled for October 2020. So the pros are that the restrictions on races will likely be loosened by then in my state. And the race is on trail and it has a small field of participants. So compared to a mass road event, I think there's a greater likelihood that this race would happen. And then the cons is that there is always a potential for a race cancellation. And this is taking, whether you take COVID-19 into account or not, you always have the chance for, maybe torrential weather during race weekend, and they ultimately can't have the race. So my backup plan is, if the race is canceled, I'm going to complete the 50K route. So this race also has a 50K option, and the 50K is on the most scenic parts of the race. So I'll complete that route with my husband Sean in October 2020. So it might not be the exact race weekend, but it will be in October. So something that seemed uncontrollable with the con became a controllable by having a backup plan that was realistic. So, in summary, when setting goals in uncertain times, step one is to allow yourself to dream big, because you can always come back to that list when the time is right. You know, you'll choose different goals depending on the time in your life. The second one is determine what's realistic right now. And step three is to have a backup plan. So these steps allow you to set a goal, create a process to achieve the goal, and have more control of the outcome. So it becomes a really fun process, actually, when something that seems scary and uncontrollable actually becomes controllable, and then you can set out to create a training plan and achieve your goals.